Okay, so let's take a look throughout the U.S. Plenty of moisture that's going to take place throughout much of the East Coast except for Maine. A little bit of moisture left over throughout the rest of the Gulf Coast, and plenty of moisture throughout the southern plains all the way to the Great Lakes. And more moisture still lingering throughout parts of the desert Southwest and some of the West Coast. Let's take a look for Sunday morning. By Sunday morning, there's going to be a lot of moisture throughout the East Coast, except for Maine, and also the Gulf Coast. Plenty of moisture in the desert Southwest, parts of California, and parts of the Pacific Northwest on the coastal side. Wild for your area, let's take a look. Well, your dew point values are still down, even for your chilly lows. It just means that dry air is in your area, so that could indicate that you might get some nice weather, just lacking any fog in your area. Wild. And as for Sunday night, your dew point values is lower than 10 degrees Celsius, which means that you're definitely going to get some dry air. Some pleasant weather, but we'll just see about that. In the U.S., a lot of moisture, and some of the moisture would make its way into Maine by Sunday night. Plenty of moisture throughout much of the Great Plains, southern half of the Great Lakes region, Gulf Coast. Some in the desert Southwest would still have moisture, California, and parts of the Pacific Northwest. Let's take a look at Monday morning. So by Monday morning, wild for humidity levels, not much. Yeah, but it also didn't help that the first hurricane I had ever heard about back then, when it was all over the news, was Katrina. Ah, yeah. Katrina was a monster, dude. Nasty one. Yeah, it was a nasty one. So horrific that there were a lot of things that went wrong, with the storm. A lot of things. But damn, yeah. Yeah, it was a Category 5 before it made landfall, but downgraded just before it even touched Louisiana. But even that did not stop from the hurricane from causing a lot of destruction in New Orleans and the surrounding areas. I mean, I definitely remember that. Yeah, first, before it hit New Orleans, it made landfall in Florida as a tropical storm at a Category 1, then exited the Sunshine State, gathered strength, got a lot of warm Gulf waters that transformed into a Category 5. But even though it did downgrade to a Cat 3, just moments before it hit landfall in Louisiana, it was still too strong to stop it. But damn, yeah, that was a horrible storm, dude. Very horrible. Let's take a look throughout Monday morning. Plenty of moisture throughout much of the East Coast and the Gulf Coast too, but Maine would maintain its dry weather. And there's also going to be still some moisture left over throughout parts of California and the desert Southwest. And moisture's lingering throughout the center part of the country. Wild for Monday night. Humidity levels would start going back up. Unfortunately, you had a long ride. The weekend, well, humidity levels start going back up to the low teens, which means the fog returns in a matter of a few days. Moisture, let's take a look. It's going to be throughout the East Coast, except anywhere just south of Boston. Gulf Coast, plenty of moisture, and much of the rest of the central third of the country. Moisture would be lower throughout much of the west, though. Now let's take a look at the convection. Let's take a look. Convection is to give us an idea if there's going to be any chance of severe weather, though. There's plenty of convection throughout the southeast. A lot of it is in South Florida, and some convection will be in the desert southwest and southern Texas. No convection for you, Wild. None at all for tomorrow morning. For tomorrow night, though, still the same thing for you, Wild, but convection will be all over the southeast, center part of the country, all the way to Wisconsin, Michigan, and plenty of convection throughout much of the southwest. That includes Southern California and the Great Basin. Take a look for Sunday morning. Convection would still be there, but not in great amounts throughout much of the southeast. In the Florida Keys, plenty of convection and some convection that's still there throughout the desert southwest and some places of the Great Basin. Sunday night, convection is, not much though, but still there, and still some greater convection in the Florida Keys. Convection spreads throughout much of the west, though, but mostly on the interior side, and much of the Great Plains, though, will get some convection going. For Monday morning, convection is there isn't much, folks, throughout the southeast, and still some that's present throughout New Mexico. And finally, convection still be a thing throughout the southeast, but not as much, though. But convection starts building up throughout the Great Plains, New Mexico, and much of the Great Basin, though. Wild throughout the weekend and Monday, you're not going to get much convection. Convection is something that would indicate if there's any strong to severe weather in your area, Wild. But in your case, there isn't. Let's take a look at the radar. And for the radar, for tomorrow morning, there's going to be a lot of storms that's going to occur throughout much of the East Coast, but most notably from Pennsylvania all the way down to Florida. Storms would still be there throughout much of the Southwest. Some showers and storms would move into the Pacific Northwest. While you're going to get some storms for tomorrow morning, but going to tomorrow night, that ship has sailed. The storm ship has sailed. You're going to get some nice weather, Wild, for Saturday night. But I'm going to get some wet weather throughout much of the East Coast. Storms there. Desert Southwest and much of California. A little bit of moisture moving to the Pacific Northwest. Now, what about for Sunday morning? Still somewhat weather, still plaguing throughout much of the East Coast and the Desert Southwest, and also the Great Basin too. A little bit of showers lingering throughout parts of California. Moisture moves into the Pacific Northwest, though. I see Umberto right here, but the thing is, it's not much of our concern, but this would be for those there. But anyway, for Sunday, you're going to get some storms there. And still more storms throughout the Desert Southwest, Great Basin, and the Rockies, too. Oh, and there is going to be a cold front that's going to move into parts of California and into the Pacific Northwest by Sunday night. Monday morning, oh boy, this is trouble, and as well as this one here. Moisture moves into the southeast starting early next week. Ahead of the storm, though. And some showers and storms move into New Mexico and parts of Texas, and as well as the front range of the northern Rockies. And storms are moving into the Pacific Northwest. While you're not going to get some bad weather this weekend, just after Saturday morning, that is. Tomorrow morning, that is. And finally, by Monday night, there's going to be a lot of wet weather to go around throughout much of the southeast and the mid-Atlantic. Florida, along the East Coast, folks are going to... they're in trouble over there. But if you're in the Gulf Coast, well, you'll be fine. Unless some pop-up thunderstorms would show up and cause, some horrible beach day for your area. Well, let's take a look at let's take a look at some weather, some storms. So it will be in the southern plains in Texas, and plenty of storms. Lots of them moving into the Pacific Northwest and into the northern Rockies, the Great Basin, Northern California. Things are starting to dry up throughout the desert Southwest, though, in some parts, though. All right, so that's it for the weather. That's it for the weather discussion. Now we're gonna move into Minecraft. Oh yeah, and let me transition to here. To Minecraft, though, but the thing is that I still need to set it up. Hold on a minute, folks. Give it a moment. Wait a second. Okay. We got it. Okay, so let's go here. Oh yeah, folks, I have a little bit of an emergency to deal with. I mean, it's nothing serious. Hold on, let me see. Yep, storm season is pretty much over for me. We can get storms in October sometimes, though. Yeah, I'll just keep an eye on it, Wild. But in the meantime, you're gonna get some nice weather for this weekend. For me, I gotta use the bathroom real quick. If you're still gonna be here.